Hey guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my reality TV channel where I talk about all things reality TV. And today I want to talk a little bit about 1,000-Pound Sisters, but first I want to catch up on a few things. So I am currently watching about 10 to 15 reality shows. Which is so funny because I started watching all these shows to report on them on this channel, and I just watch the shows and I don't report on them. So people have been asking me if I've been keeping up with the shows. Yes, I have been keeping up with Love After Lockup, 90 Day Fiance, Welcome to Plathville, Golden Bachelor, Bachelor in Paradise, all the Housewives. God, I'm like watching, there's so many more. I'm watching so many more shows. But I am also, Below Deck Mediterranean, I'm also trying to catch up on the original Below Deck and 1,000-Pound Sisters, which is what I'm going to talk about today. Well, I'm getting ready to catch up on the original Below Deck and Vanderpump Rules, which I've seen a lot of, but not consistently because my husband watched it, so I had to watch it with him. But the new season of Vanderpump Rules is coming out in January, so I want to watch all the seasons leading up to it. That's one of the shows that a lot of people have asked me to cover over here. And I'm also going to start watching Sister Wives from the very beginning. So if you guys would like me to... Now, the thing about Sister Wives and 1,000-Pound Sisters is that I know what's going on currently because I've read articles and seen the stuff online and stuff like that. So I know what's going on currently. So it is kind of interesting to go back and watch from the very, very beginning these shows. So if you guys would like me to do updates of what I think as I watch it, I can do that. You know, I went back and I watched Real Housewives of Miami from the very beginning, and that was my plan to do with Potomac before Potomac started. So I was going to watch Potomac this season. I am not going to do that anymore. I'm going to wait until the season is over, and then I'm going to go back and watch all the seasons of Potomac and catch up next year because it's just too much to catch up with at this time. I'm trying to do New Jersey and get New Jersey done before it comes out in February, and then I'm just going to try to catch up with one season at a time. But, you know, the thing about, like, catching up with, like, Miami... I loved doing that. Like, I mean, I just, like, went right... I was watching 4 and 5, 6 episodes of Real Housewives of Miami a night, you know, and I loved it. But, like, the thing is that people that are on, like, season 1 through 3 are no longer on the show or ever been heard of before. Like, Leah Black, I mean, they don't ever talk about her. She was a huge part of the show for a long time, you know? There are other people that aren't on the show anymore, and, but to know about what's going on today, like, when they talk about, like, on Miami, when they talk about, like, Mama Elsa, Marisol's mother, you have to go back and, like, have watched the previous seasons to know what they're talking about. Now, I did because my husband had watched Miami enough that I would see it in the background. I'd be like, oh, who's that? That's Mama Elsa. That's Marisol's mother, and things like that. Saw, you know, part of the reunion, saw her and Andy Cohen talking about Mama Elsa's passing and things like that. So I know enough about it to reference it, but I didn't watch it in real time, so I'm wanting to watch it in real time. And I have to tell you, I'm having such a blast. I'm, like, living for it right now. In fact, watching Survivor this year, I haven't... Survivor, Amazing Race are two of the other shows I'm watching. I haven't watched Survivor and Amazing... I mean, I used to watch every season of Survivor. Amazing Race, I watched a couple of the seasons. But Survivor, I used to watch every season of it. And I think I stopped, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. And I'm absolutely loving Survivor this year. And I'm like, I should go back and watch all of the seasons. I should go back and watch all the seasons. But there's only so much time in the day. I'm also watching... Dragula, I'm watching... But I'm caught up on all the seasons of Dragula, so I'm just watching the current season. I'm watching the current season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, and I'm going back, I think I'm on the 3rd or 4th episode of the 3rd season of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under in Australia. I watched the other seasons of those two franchises. So, like, I'm watching all these different shows, and like I said, I'm having a blast. I'm just loving it, right? So, I'm trying to catch up with some of these shows. I'm trying to catch up with one being 1,000-Pound Sisters before it comes out December 12th. There's 4 seasons. The first season is, I believe, 6 episodes, or 6 or 7 episodes. I think 6. And then the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th season has, I believe, 10 episodes. And then the 5th season is coming out December 12th. So I think it is easy for me to catch up on this one because they're shorter seasons. So last night, I watched the very first episode of the very first season of 1,000-Pound Sisters. And I have to tell you, okay, so if you didn't watch my other video where I announced that I was going to make a commitment to watching the show, I have a little history with this whole story. So, For those of you that have found this channel, you don't know anything about me on YouTube, I have a drama commentary channel, which is just called Petermon, and I do coverage of YouTube and pop culture figures and drama, gossip, tea around those people. And so I post over there daily, and I have been doing it for 7 years. Well, back in the day, Amy Slayton was somebody that got into quite a bit of drama on YouTube. And it was actually interesting because in the first episode, she and Tammy reference they're having a channel together. The way that I remember it is that Amy Slayton had Amy Slayton. I believe it started as the Slayton sisters, and then Amy Slayton had her channel, and then Tammy had her channel too, but Tammy wasn't very consistent with her channel. Amy was pretty consistent with her channel. And Amy's channel is the one that grew the most. And I believe it is from Amy's channel that they got the TLC show, is how I heard it behind the scenes. I don't know, there could be no truth to that. But Amy back in the day got into, I feel like I just need to be completely honest about this whole storyline because I feel like if I'm not, then like that will go into me talking about them down the road. So Amy got into quite a bit of trouble because Tammy was in the hospital for a period of time. I actually think that when the show starts, and so I watched the first episode last night, and I have to tell you, my take on the show was completely different after watching it than I thought it was going to be going into it. I really thought going into it, it was just going to be a complete shitstorm, and I just was going to be like, or shit show, and I was just going to be like, I can't with this, I'm just not interested at all. My response actually was extremely sympathetic, and I really felt for Amy and Tammy, especially Tammy, in a way, the show really humanized them in a way that I just didn't expect. I had talked to Amy quite a bit in the past, and so I already felt like I had this human interaction with Amy Slayton where I saw her, you know, in a different way than just somebody that I was covering on my channel. But Tammy I did not know at all. Had just talked about her in videos or referenced her in videos. So the story that happened was Amy was a channel that a lot of drama commentary channels talked about back in the day because she would do things to get a lot of attention. So for example, one of the videos I referenced this the other day was she would try foods that people would ask her to eat, and then she would eat these foods, but then she'd just get bombarded with hate and negativity in the comment sections. And so one of the videos that I watched, and she'd always be like, she'd say, "Hey y'all, it's Amy," but it would be like this. So like this would be the video, right? I mean, I don't edit my videos. I mean, it was really poorly edited. When I saw them pull out the iPad last night, and that's how it totally made sense to me what they've been doing for years. And there was a lot of suggestions that Amy's brother actually was behind a lot of the ideas on the videos, and that he was a driving force behind getting her to make these videos that he knew that people would hate on and they would get a lot of views. Because a lot of people that hate watch videos on YouTube, those videos get a lot of views, right? So Amy Slayton, the video that I watched and was kind of introduced to her on was this deep fried Twinkie that she ate. And she was like mad at her audience. I'm sure it's still up on her channel. And she was like, okay, this is the last time I'm doing this for y'all. I'm never eating another one of these things. And she eats this deep fried Twinkie. And it's like, the video is literally like 3 minutes long, okay? This is the thing. If it wasn't, if that wasn't who she really was as a person, it literally would be genius because you couldn't script it. Like, I mean, watching the show last night, I was like, this is Amy Slayton. I mean, if you've ever read a text message from Amy Slayton, I mean, she talks that way in real, I mean, that is Amy Slayton. Like, okay, every message I've ever gotten, well, not text messages, but messages, every message I've gotten from Amy Slayton is like one long run-on sentence. I mean, it's hilarious, right? But like, and how she and Tammy talk to each other in the show is exactly how Amy talks in real life and things like that. And I will say this, there are other people similar to Amy that I had covered in my past who were kind of like bitter and negative. Amy never was that way. Amy always said to me things that people hurt her feelings and she didn't really understand it. And it always kind of like, I always, to some degree, felt sympathetic for Amy because I didn't think she really understood what she was walking into. So to watch them reading hate comments last night in the first episode, and she reads this one where she says to Tammy, the comment says to Tammy, "You better watch out or Amy's going to kick out your last tooth," or something like that, and Amy starts laughing. It kind of cracked me up. And in some way, actually, it was like an education to a person that's a YouTuber out there on how to handle hate comments. Like, if Amy Slayton and Tammy Slayton can handle the horrific comments that they're getting, and they're showing, I mean, they're laughing. I mean, it's genuine. It's not fake, right? And they can do that, then what the hell are the rest of us complaining about, you know? And so that was kind of how I was introduced to Amy Slayton. Then there were a lot of channels that were calling Amy Slayton out because they were saying that Amy was begging for money and she was lying about it. And the whole storyline was around the fact that Tammy was in the hospital and Amy was saying that Tammy was possibly going to pass away and that the coffin was going to cost too much money because the coffin for Tammy would be more expensive than a regular size coffin, and on and on and on. And so she was asking for a lot of money. She said something to the effect of, like, if Tammy is okay, then the money will go towards our bills. But that was speculative, that people were like, no, you didn't say that. Yes, you did say that. Whatever. So anyway, Tammy ended up getting out of the hospital and being okay, and so Amy didn't give any of the money back, and so people were like requesting their money back because Tammy was fine. And what Amy said was, we told you that, y'all, that we were gonna pay our bills with it if Tammy was okay. And that was kind of my introduction to all of it. Now, I will say, in Amy's defense, Amy went into a live stream with like 3 or 4 people that like came for her and confronted her about this stuff, and Amy took full responsibility, and I do believe she paid every single person back the money that they were sent. So that's, I think, shows to some degree the integrity of Amy Slayton. But anyway, so that was how I was introduced to Amy Slayton back in the day. I remember at the same time I was talking to Amberlynn Reid, who is another YouTuber and talks about weight issues and things like that. And I can remember a lot of people were comparing Amy Slayton to Amberlynn Reid, and Amberlynn Reid was very upset. She did not like me being compared to Amy Slayton whatsoever. And I remember around the same time that Amy was, I think before, getting offered a reality show because she had talked about it, you know, on her channel and stuff. Amberlynn Reid was offered a reality show, and I believe she turned it down. I think she was offered it twice, maybe, and she turned it down. And I always kind of feel like in the back of my head, I'm kind of like, you know, Amy Slayton is the real winner in all of this, because I know her marriage is not great today, but she ended up having 2 kids. When I saw in the episode where she's talking about, you know, she doesn't feel like she's complete because she can't have kids, I just really, really felt for her. And, I don't know, I just felt like the show was so authentic and genuine. Like, they don't edit out the cussing and they're calling each other names. It just was, it was real, you know? And I thought it showed, like, all the food they eat and all that kind of stuff. So I was really, to be honest with you, delighted and impressed with it. I was like, oh, this is a show I definitely can keep up with and watch. Plus, I'm already interested in Amy Slayton. I mean, I like Amy. Like I said, you know, in the back of my mind, well, not even in the back of my mind, I've said it in many videos on my drama channel. I always feel like I've always felt like Amy Slayton was the real winner out of all of it, you know? I mean, because she was probably like, I don't have anything to lose. I wanted to do weight loss surgery anyway. I'm sure, I have a feeling the TV show probably paid for the weight loss surgery, but I don't know about all that. And so she gets a weight loss surgery, she loses a ton of weight, she ends up having 2 kids out of it, and even though her marriage is not great today, I mean, the rest of her other dreams have come true, and I think she looks pretty good, you know, and she seems healthier than she ever was. Now, I haven't watched the last couple episodes, or last couple seasons, obviously, so I don't know. The first episode, my first introduction to watching the show, with the background history of what I knew of Amy Slayton, which basically on YouTube was that, I mean, you talk about a shit show, she was a shit show on YouTube. And people laughed at her, and it was, her entire audience was all like almost, and I would say probably 80% hate watchers of Amy Slayton. And Tammy Slayton, it was even worse. People were like even crueler to Tammy Slayton. And so, in watching all of this stuff, and I will say, you know, that I felt like while I was watching a lot of things that she would do, because she would come for people too, I felt like she brought a lot of that on herself and stuff, and that she lied about things. I mean, you know, one of my things that I do on my drama commentary channel is that I check facts. Amy said that a coffin for Tammy would cost twice as much money, which is why she needed to raise all that much money, and that was in the epitome of this being like high drama on YouTube. And I actually called a funeral home in their town and asked, would a coffin cost that much more money? And I was told no. I think I called 2 funeral homes actually and was told no. And that was kind of the impetus for why Amy was like, okay, people are calling you out for lying, and she got honest about it. Amy and I have always had a very friendly relationship. She's always talked to me whenever I've reached out to her. She actually told me about the show before it came on, before like they started filming it. She's like, you can't say anything to anybody about it until I can announce it. And I was like, that's fine. I totally respected that, you know, and I was excited for her because I thought this was her winning moment. One of my favorite things in life, obviously, obviously I love reality TV. I love a shit show, okay? But one of the other things I love in life, and this is kind of more of my vlog Peterism type, but I love when people, they surprise you in a way you didn't expect. And Amy Slayton coming out as the winner and the hero of accomplishing her dreams is like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, I live for that. I love that, you know? So I watched this episode last night, and it's basically them deciding that they're going to have this bariatric surgery. And I have to say, in watching Tammy like online and stuff, I did not realize how housebound Tammy Slayton was, and that she was unable to leave. I didn't know that she hadn't left her house in 6 years. I didn't know that she couldn't walk very long distances. I mean, I knew she had a lot of medical issues, but I didn't know that it was to that extent. And to see Amy so protective over her, and then to see Tammy jealous of Amy, which I totally understood, I just thought it showed so much emotion and vulnerability from the both of them. The whole scene, they go see their mom, and they tell their mom they're going to have a surgery, and the mom's like, Tammy says, you've never stuck with anything. And I thought, you know, as somebody that's been bullied, like, the majority of my life, when I was growing up, for being gay, and Tammy and Amy are sharing these stories, but really Tammy is sharing the story about how horribly she was bullied, you know, in school and stuff like that for being heavier and whatever. I really felt for her, and I really felt for both of them. The end of the episode, they can't find a scale that will weigh them accurately, so they have to go to this, like, junkyard and get weighed on this junkyard scale, which, I mean, I think, to watch that, I think that's where I think most people would be like, this is a laughable moment, stepping outside of it. As somebody that's been very, very heavy in my life, I just recently lost like 60 pounds. You know, no, I wasn't the size of Amy or Tammy, but I was heavy, and it really screwed with my head. Still screws with my head. I still see myself that way in my head. I have, you know, huge issues with body dysmorphia. When Amy said she felt like that truck driving by when she saw the scale, because she was like 406, I think, at the beginning of it, I related to that. I was like, even though I wasn't that weight, it was like, I get that feeling, you know, of just being completely sobbing in tears. And I can remember, you know, going to doctors, and doctors being like, okay, you need to lose 140 pounds. And 140 pounds seemed inconceivable. 20 pounds seemed inconceivable to me, let alone 140 pounds. So when you're talking about like Amy or Tammy losing this huge amount of weight, like I understand why Tammy wanted to give up. There's a scene in the park where she's like, I just want to give up. It's not going to ever happen, you know? I feel for her. I can totally see where you would get to that point. I did not expect to feel as emotional as I did about the show, and I just thought, here you have these two gals from Kentucky that have nothing to lose, and so they're getting in this reality show and being completely 100% vulnerable with their bodies, with their relationships, with their goals, with their dreams, with their fears, with everything. I was like, I love this. You know, I know that now Amy has accomplished most of her weight loss dreams. I know that Tammy's really struggling with it. I think at the end of the season 1, Tammy doesn't get approved for the surgery. I think I remember that, or into season 2 or something like that. And I know that right now, going into season 5, her husband that she met in this rehab center that she is in is like really struggling medically and things like that. So, I'm going to keep on watching it. I'm very committed to it. I would really like to know, if you guys watch 1,000 Pound Sisters, what your first impression was of it. Hey! What your first impression of it was watching it. Because like I said, like, I was completely blown away. Like, it wasn't what I thought it would be at all, my reaction. I mean, I was literally out here crying last night watching it. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.